Welcome, everyone. Episode 2 of the M2CS podcast with Mike, Mark, Chris, and Sean. How are y'all doing today?
Good.
You ready to break down this? I don't even know what words to use to describe it. Like perfect ain't even good enough for the way this thing ended.
You know, I've probably watched these at least 3 times each. Like I said, I sat down last night and watched them all straight in a row like a movie. Visually, it just looks, the whole series has looked really, really good. But these last 2 episodes, like you said, it's just really hard to describe how good they really are.
Yeah. All right, let's start right into it. So we ain't on here for 2 hours. So up first, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Season 7, Episode 11, titled "Shattered." Scored a 9.9 on IMDb, another 9.9. Directed by Dave Filoni and Saul Ruiz. Written, the writing credits go to George Lucas, who created it, and Dave Filoni. So, absolutely incredible episode. Just starting at the top. So, my first thing coming out of it was, as soon as Bo sees Maul, when Ahsoka brings him back off the thing, her first reaction is, "Wow, you captured him." You know, if it was me, I would not have captured him. She, saying she would have killed him. I think that just setting up the whole Jedi, Ahsoka, whether she's a Jedi or not, she still respected the council's wishes.
Yeah, she's still part,
Yeah.
part of it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Well, I thought at the very beginning, when, like you said, you see them, the entrance, the spacecraft flying into Mandalore, the battle, the smoke, the music.
Yes.
The musical scores for these last 2 episodes was insane.
The music for this one in particular, I think, is as good as any I've heard in any movie.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
It really kind of shows you the thought that they put into these final 4 episodes. Who did the music?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. I'm not sure.
I heard on a podcast today they was talking about that. They said the guy, whoever it was, it's the one that took over from the original Star Wars.
Brian Williams.
Composer.
Williams.
Yeah, Brian Williams. He retired or something. So this guy right here is the one that took over, and they were just praising him, how good a job he done and everything.
I mean, it just slowly built. Like,
oh yeah,
the music, like just the tension that the music created alone. Like they didn't even have to say nothing. There's that one spot there, like after Ahsoka and Bo say their farewells, it goes like 2 to 3 minutes, or maybe even longer than that. It feels like, where not a single word is said, but the tension,
it's just visual.
Yeah, it just wraps up every second. It just takes one step higher, one step higher, one step higher. Just kept building and building.
Well, I noticed, and I may be jumping ahead a little bit, but did you guys ever get a feel, like a horror movie feel, when you were watching this episode? You didn't? The music?
I thought the music had
did with me a little bit.
It had some suspense.
Yeah, really
to it.
Suspenseful. Yeah.
Like, I kept expecting Maul to like jump or something. Like they kept focusing, like, is he just going to explode out of that box or something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
What'd you think of the box?
It was cool. All thing you see was pretty much his eyes.
Is that like prototype frozen in carbonite? Like, they banned that, so now we just freeze them going forward?
I think it was a prison for Jedi during the Mandalorian Jedi.
Yeah, because she said that was like the last one.
It's the last one ever, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it kind of looked like Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs.
With the mask and everything, where they had him chained in there.
Chained up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mandalorian armor was designed to fight Jedi.
Yeah, they talked about that in Rebels. Their armor, they had with all the gadgets and stuff that was on their armor, was, made to defend against the Jedi, and the supernatural skills that they had.
Metal, is it lightsaber proof?
I don't know. I mean, you never.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
It seems like I read that somewhere, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Might probably find out.
Yeah.
So at the end of that, when he's in the box and Ahsoka and Rex is there talking, like you can't hear them, it's inaudible, but you can see them discussing, and it zooms in on Maul's eyes, and he closes his eyes, and then Ahsoka kind of looks at him, and is that when they first sensed would that be timeline wise when Mace and the Emperor are going at it when that battle begins? Is that when they first sense that something major is going down right there?
No, I don't think it would have been that early. I think that would have probably have came in more when Ahsoka and Rex were on the bridge of the ship. Um, I've always kind of felt that through this 4 episodes that there was a connection between Maul and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I don't know how, what you would really call it or anything, but I think those two, where they're on the outside of, well, they're not, a Sith and they're not a Jedi. They're on the outside of it looking in.
They're both outcasts.
Yeah, but it makes them even more keyed in towards the Force and what's going on with the Force at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we get the hologram meeting when Rex takes Ahsoka to meet, and you see Mace and the Yoda and the other two standing there. So matching up. I actually watched went back and watched Revenge of the Sith, and it's word for word. They're standing in the exact same spot. I mean, they digitally made it. They animated that scene absolutely perfect. Looks just like it. I thought it was interesting that Rex said that Anakin was in the meeting when he left. So she literally just missed him by seconds to get to talk to him.
Yeah, and you see when she walks in there and how Mace, I heard your mission was a success, and she's like, yeah, we were able to get it pulled off, and we've got him captured. And Yoda's, I can't remember if it was her. I'm actually on that scene right now. If it was her or if it was Yoda or Mace that said, you've done a great service to the galaxy, and
she says, as a citizen.
As a citizen,
and
yeah.
Yoda says, not as a Jedi, and she says, no, not yet. So like right then, I don't know that she's going back, but at that point in time, I think she was leaning toward returning to the Jedi.
I think it probably wouldn't have took a lot to get her to come back to the Jedi at that time.
Right.
I'd say all it would have took was Anakin saying, "Come back."
Yeah. If Anakin would have been there, I agree. Yeah, I think
she was walking into that meeting to talk to him, and definitely would have been back.
Yeah.
Let's see.
What did you see Yoda in that scene? How he really sensed that she had more to say at that time.
Yeah, like
and
he was
he
trying
didn't really
to pry
push
it out.
her. He tried to pry it out a little bit. But he really wanted her to bring it to light.
So was that more him wanting confirmation that what he believed about Anakin was going to be true, or was that he just actually, because even Rex looks at Ahsoka on the bridge in the next episode and says, or in this episode, and later in
right after this scene,
it says something on your mind, like he even felt that she needed to say something.
Mm-hmm.
So
he asked her right here. He says, "You didn't tell them about Commander Skywalker," and she said, "No, I want to talk to Anakin myself."
Yeah. See, at this point, she still don't believe Maul.
She still don't believe him, but she doesn't trust the council either.
Right.
I think that really goes to show you that she doesn't trust the Jedi Council because she knows what she's been through with them, and so she doesn't trust them.
Do you think if she would have told Yoda and Mace that they would have went and tried to kill Anakin right then?
They probably would have tried to confront him or something. Probably.
I think they would have confronted him over it. Yeah.
I don't know. Mace wouldn't have listened to her. He was all like, "We can't discuss this in front of a normal citizen."
Yeah, but he's arrogant, isn't he?
Like, gosh, almighty, man. Like I didn't really like him from the prequels anyway, but they really go out of their way to make you dislike him in this.
I read a thing today on the internet, and I can never find it again before I read it. And it gave a really good argument on why Mace Windu was an a-hole, major a-hole.
Oh, really? What did it say?
Why the Jedi were bad. Not bad guys, just morally wrong.
Right, yeah.
Was it did one of you guys send it out in the text line, or did I read it online where they said that it said nothing that Palpatine done was illegal?
Yeah, I was texting you about that. We was
Yeah.
listening. I was listening to the Rebel Force Radio guys, and they was talking about that. The one guy, the guest host on there, said that everything Palpatine done was legal. He had the power to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was voted in. So, like, if he wanted to change the rules and they approved them, what did he do wrong? And the one, I mean, it was a big argument between them, but I thought it was an interesting take that I guess technically he didn't do anything wrong.
Well, if you look political wise, and we try to stay as away from politics as we can here, but he didn't do anything wrong. Like you said, everything he done was voted on, and the people, the leaders of the galaxy wanted this to happen. So yeah, he was able to do everything legally.
And if you think about it, the people had more freedom under the Empire. They didn't have the Jedi constantly walking around and stop, citizen. Let.
Yeah.
They got
Well, you
to
even
have
see in that scene
carry
there
guns and everything.
Yeah, well, you even see in that scene there when Mace says the Jedi will have to take over the council or the Senate until this calms down. And Yoda says, that famous line, we're heading into a real tricky place right here. That's not what he said, but that's what he basically meant. The Jedi were never supposed to be warriors. They were never supposed to be politicians, police. No. So I mean, it really does show you.
They're kind of a metaphor for America.
Yeah.
Kinda. Yeah. But their arrogance, again, we talked about it in the last podcast. Their arrogance really is what put them in this position, because they were very arrogant over this whole situation.
I think I even mentioned to you a while back when I first started watching the Clone Wars, made the point, like, it's almost like they're going out of their way to make you not like the Jedi and some of this stuff. And like even the sister arc, as bad as the sister arc was before this one, that did show how they're just not respected like they think they are.
Exactly.
And people's opinion of them is nowhere near what they think it is.
And this was, that honestly was the first 4 episodes, those 4 episodes right there. And, we've trashed on them, talked about them. We didn't like them, didn't like those 2 characters, that kind of thing. But what those 4 episodes really did do a good job of, that they have never done in any other Star Wars medium that I know of, is put the Jedi in a negative light.
Yeah.
And those 4 episodes really done that. They done a good job with that too, I don't know if that was on purpose or what.
To be honest with you, I think that was probably the best part of them episodes, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, it done a lot of really good about setting it up, I never did like, I know we're going way back here, I never did like introducing 2 brand new characters that you're only going to see for 4 episodes, and that's
this late in the show.
It's late in the show.
I mean, like if there's another season,
Batch.
yeah. The Bad Batch I thought was pretty cool, but still though, like if there was another season that you knew was coming, yeah, you could see it. But
yeah,
I mean, you're down to the end. Like, I mean, just imagine if all 12 episodes had been related to this arc, and really they could have slowed that down and expanded on it even more.
Yeah, because you think about it, it's called the Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah. And
it wasn't very long.
It wasn't very long at all. It was
very long.
2 battles,
The Mandalorians, besides the first 2 episodes, were involved very little in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that, to me, they really didn't use the Mandalorians to what I thought that they might. I thought we really would see a whole lot more of the Mandalorians in these 4 episodes than what we really did.
Yeah. And maybe they changed it just because of the Mandalorian show. Maybe they didn't want to, with that show out, they didn't want to spend all the time on them or something. I don't know.
Exactly. But, yeah.
All right. So on the bridge, they're discussing, and then the trooper comes in and tells Rex he's ready for the debrief, or the new debrief is in, or something like that. And he invites Ahsoka to go in. What would that have been like if she'd actually went?
I don't know. I think the same thing would have happened, but
oh yeah, but it'd been really interesting.
Yeah, it would have got Harry alert quicker than what it did.
Yeah. So my big thing from the whole Execute Order 66, Rex is shaking. So he knew. It's almost like there was dual personalities there, and one's fighting against the other. But he was able to shake and delay 5 seconds, 6 seconds, whatever it was, long enough to get out fives. You got to find fives. Why was he able to do that versus none of the others? Because in Revenge of the Sith, you see Cody turn on Obi-Wan immediately. And I actually think Cody and Obi-Wan's relationship is probably just as good as Rex and Ahsoka's is.
You know, I don't know what it was. I kind of wonder if it was where Rex has been with Ahsoka when she was younger.
Maybe, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
pretty much, yeah. It was like she grew up fighting beside him. That could have been
she
it.
grew up fighting, and she was really young. I mean, she was a young, like a preteen when she come into this, and I think it's where she was with him since she was so young that's the connection that they had there was that big of a difference. Yeah.
Here's my question: is when he contacted him, execute Order 66, and Rex is, yes, Lord Sidious. Did he know who he was?
He did.
I think that chip done it.
I think the chip done it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it was in that chip.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, he knew. See, that's something I always wondered was, like, okay, they already knew what Order 66 was. I didn't know. Did they mention in the movie about chips in their head about that, or
no? Never.
Okay.
No.
Which was, in the movie when you're again, that's why this just adds so much depth to episode 3, is because
where did the chips first come into it at?
It was in
in Clone Wars. It's like season 3 or 4 of Clone Wars. They go and find out about the chips.
Okay.
Fives winds up dying because of it.
Yeah, they play. I actually watched the Rebels episodes when they first go back and when they reintroduce Rex in Rebels, and last night they said that they played it off as those chips they called them inhibitor chips because they noticed that the clones had a tendency towards violence.
Right.
So they put those chips in them to inhibit that violent turn. And
wasn't it something to do
the
with
council and the people? They were like, okay, we're all right with that. Yeah.
And it seemed like it didn't have something to do with where their growth or whatever was accelerated, like that was causing, kind of like keeping them keeping their rage in check or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
And apparently, without the chips, they still have loyalty to the Empire, like like the old clones and Rebels, like that one. He called the Empire and told them that the Rebels was there.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I guess that's they've driven home the whole loyalty thing. So that's well, you can go back to even this, like they was talking about the what good came of the war and all that stuff. And Rex saying, well, if it wasn't for the war, I wouldn't exist. So he's torn that way. Ahsoka's torn because saying she's only known war, but she has since she's been in it. She wasn't in it before that.
Well, I think you look at it also, Mark. I don't really think it was a loyalty to the Empire. The clones were very loyal to the Republic because the Republic is the one that had them.
They're the one that pretty much created them.
Exactly.
Pretty much like their mother. Like you should,
Yeah. So you really see, at this time, it really is. It's still the Republic. Again, it just really goes to show you how intelligent Palpatine was, the game that he played, the chess master that he was, because it wouldn't have mattered if the Republic won, and it wouldn't have mattered if the Separatists won. He was winning either way.
Right.
So, but just the way it's set up, the Republic won. And the thing that he talks about here on Order 66 when she goes and frees Maul, and Maul is just like, that is so brilliant.
Yeah, like
their own army against them.
Yeah. So that confirms he didn't know.
No, he didn't know. Right. Yeah, we asked that last question last week. Did he know or not? No, he didn't know.
And then her, we knew she was going to let him out. Blah blah blah. I actually never thought of that. I figured they would fight together to get out. So I was like extremely happy with the way that played out. Like her letting him out as a distraction, I thought was awesome. Then the whole thing, can you at least give me a fighting chance? And just straight cold, like, no, I'm not rooting for you. I'm only, you're only getting out of here just because I need a diversion.
Yeah.
So the him not getting a fighting chance led to probably as good of a hallway fight other than Vader and Rogue One that there is.
Yeah, that part was straight awesome.
Yeah. Talking about adult, this is a kid's cartoon. He was straight up decapitating them.
Yeah, he was straight going ham on them.
Yeah.
So is it me, or do the Dark Force users seem to be a lot more powerful in these shows than the Jedi, the Light Force users, I guess you might say?
To
I
me,
wouldn't say that they're
the
more
light
powerful.
force, I think the Light Force people, the light side, to me, seem to be more skilled with the lightsaber, and the dark side seemed to use more of the force choke, push, like moving objects, not.
I think it's because they are not as inhibited with what they can do. A Jedi, in a hall like that, he would have just, picked a soldier up, like slamming against the wall, maybe knocking him out. Dark side, they just, pick them up and kind of break them in half.
Yeah, they're just gonna kill them.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I seen a thing that said I sent you guys out that Looper video. Y'all ever get a chance to watch some of their videos? They cover a lot of media on YouTube, but that channel called Looper, and it said that where the dark side users allow their force power to be augmented by their emotions, and the Jedi take emotions out of it. So I think that's sometimes why you see that it doesn't seem like that their powers are as that is as powerful.
I think
think it's more of like a visual, physical use of the power.
Yeah.
I think the Jedi kind of holds back a little bit.
Yeah.
Or
Well, yeah, obviously they don't want to kill.
Yeah. And dark side just goes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So Ahsoka there gets her plan to escape. So she goes to she discovers the droids. So has R7 always been her droid? I may just miss that, but
I watched the Easter egg video, and it said that he had been her droid through a lot of the episodes.
Okay.
So I think he had been in it before.
So the colors of him is so different. Like I do remember seeing him. I just couldn't remember her being, like R2 with Anakin. Like I just don't remember him following her around all the time, but maybe. But anyway, so to research the stuff on fives, I don't know. I just thought it was hilarious that she knew Anakin's passcode. Like he shouldn't be sharing. He shouldn't be sharing that.
Oh yeah.
Security.
So, yeah, but he's also, he'd be the type. I just use my passcode, that kind of thing. He would
be like, yeah, you deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. Here it is. Here's my number.
Yeah.
Dave Filoni voiced the. I don't know if he done all the droids, or I know he done one of them.
Cheap, wasn't it?
Yeah, he done Cheap.
Yeah.
And so he done that voice. Isn't that kind of crazy?
Yeah.
You'd think they'd make that on some kind of computer or something, but it is actually somebody's voice doing that.
Yeah.
It's like that Will Forte did BB-8's voice. Is that who did?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The dude from the Fox show, the TV show?
I think so.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Let's see.
No, Bill Hader.
Yeah, Bill Hader.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah.
Bill Hader done it.
Yeah. So they trap Rex in the doors and shock him, and then go, do the thing. Gigi gets the shout out on the doors there because he was navigating all that. So the whole thing, this is the first time, well, this is the only time other than the guy in Rogue One. So when she's helping the scanner find the chip in Rex, so what is it exact? I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me.
Yeah.
So is that the origination of that, or was that something we just never seen before?
We've never seen
this
before.
would have been before Rogue One, so yeah, it was one time, but I think that's probably just something in that that they use.
It's never been shown in the show, but it's always
Well,
been
you know,
their
I'd say
thing.
so
like, hey,
po-
let's
I
just
say
add
it,
this.
I say it was so popular with Rogue One, that character from Rogue One, the blind guy.
Kind of like
Yeah.
This Is the Way on the
Yeah.
Mandalorian stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're just using it for something else. And also
Mhm.
too, it kind of sets up another character that we really don't know that much about. That maybe Ahsoka has cross paths with him later on somewhere else that we just don't know about yet.
Yeah, or maybe
Well,
she
I
did
mean,
come in. Yeah.
It is, the Force is known, you know, at the time throughout the galaxy. And just because you're not a Jedi doesn't mean that, you know, you don't consider the Force as your religion, I guess you'd call it.
Right. Yeah.
So that's, you know, that's where that came from.
Yeah. But those guys were, you know, the guardians of the wells. They were guardians of the Jedi temples. So they weren't Jedi, but they were, you know, they were believers of the Jedi religion, I think, even though they weren't Jedi.
Yeah.
It would have been kind of neat if at some point in time they would have showed Jedi on this, in this series sometime, how or another, you know, before they destroyed it, before the Empire destroyed it. I think that would have been really neat.
Have you ever
there's
noticed that
even,
with the
there's-
exception of Tatooine,
Mhm.
they hardly ever show planets more than once?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, the Clone Wars showed Coruscant, you know,
Mhm.
often
Well,
and
they
stuff,
about have
but-
to, because that's where everything was going on. But you think about it from the standpoint of these planets, you know, showing them over and over and over. It would have been neat to see Jeddah on here, because you know, there's even times when, you know, even in the Clone Wars earlier episodes, they talked about the Death Star being built.
Mhm.
So I think that you know, that's kind of you know, that stuff is going on at the same time as this show is going on.
Yep.
You know, yeah.
All right, that's all I've got in
That's
this
all
one.
I've got. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only had a couple notes for that.
Well,
episode anyway.
here's the thing. One thing that I would bring up in this episode was, did you really feel bad for Rex? I felt really bad for him, what he's having to go through, and he just looked pitiful.
Mhm.
You know, when she takes and puts him on that surgery table, and he wakes up, and he just looks pitiful about what's going to happen, and what did try to happen.
I
You
think
know,
you could tell he really didn't want to do it.
exactly.
Like
Yeah.
he was fighting it the whole time.
Yeah, and he was
But it was like,
fully aware of what
Fully
he
aware
was
of it.
doing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I just thought that was, you know, just something you know, just really made you feel for him in this episode because of that. Yeah.
Yep. Anything else? Mark, you got anything?
Oh.
All right. Moving on to the last episode, season 7, episode 12, Victory and Death, another 9.9. Don't know how this one didn't get a 10, but whatever. Directed by
nothing's perfect.
directed by Dave Filoni and Nathaniel Villanueva. Writing credits go to George Lucas, who created it, and Dave Filoni. So this one starts with them fighting their way out. She makes note to she don't want to hurt them again. You know, she set them guns to stun. I'm not here to kill anybody. Even after Rex just straight up tells her they don't care. They're going to kill you.
Yeah. And that's the thing out there. I mean, that really, at that point, Rex looks at his brothers.
Oh yeah.
As rabid dogs almost.
Mhm.
Hey, listen, you're going to have to kill them.
Yeah.
Because they don't care. They are going to kill you. Really kind of just shows you how much influence that chip had on them, what they were capable of.
Mhm.
They were a very dangerous race. These clones were. I mean, they were very dangerous.
Well, you got to remember too, the clones that's turned on Ahsoka are the best clones in the entire thing. That's the 501.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like that ain't even. I mean, that's like the most experienced, the most, you know, the best ones they got.
Yeah. most of them made up of, you know, multiple ARC troopers. You know, we talked about the ARC troopers here. They were even a special breed of, not really a breed, but a group of clone troopers.
Right.
To even get to that level. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So they escape out the hall. They're pushing the door on them and stunning the rest of them.
Yeah, that's what. Like you going back, she don't want to kill anybody, but she just flat out just force pushes the crap out of them.
Mowed them down with a big steel door.
Yeah.
Yeah. She just stunned them with it though.
Yeah, I bet.
Hey, listen, I always, when I was watching this episode, the couple, 3 times I've watched it, I was really blown away with the teamwork between the two of them.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, she's blocking laser bolts. He's jumping around the side shooting them.
But you notice she always stayed in front of him.
Yeah.
She protected him the entire episode.
Yeah.
Let's see. I liked it. I thought it was kind of interesting. What'd you think about Rex's response that she let Maul out?
What was it he said there? That's one way of putting it.
He's like that. Yes. Why? Why would you do that? Well, I needed a distraction. Well, that's one way of putting it. I think he, at that point, what happened with Maul later, I think he probably expected.
Oh yeah. He knew that you couldn't trust Maul.
Yeah.
He probably looked at it from a tactical standpoint of, well, we're going to have to deal with him before we get off of this ship and deal with these clone troopers. You know, we're going to have to deal with all of them again.
Yeah.
And again here, you know, you're seeing Maul walk through these hallways and just beating these people, you know.
Flat out doing work, son.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing work.
And
yeah.
The control scene where he tears it down was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he just tore it down.
Well,
did he disable the hyperdrive or destroy the hyperdrive because he needed them to come out of hyperspace, right? Because on his escape, he knew. I think he knew he couldn't leave in hyperspace, right?
Right. You know, you see that scene there, and I just watched it right here again. I've got it playing. He pulls that control center up.
You notice the guy dead in it.
There's a guy laying there, and he just sweeps him aside.
I noticed that too.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He just swept him aside.
Yeah.
Like he had a broom in his hand. Get on out of here. But hey, listen, that is a cool scene of him tearing that hyperdrive down in there and just slamming it down. Yeah. And to me, the coolest visual part of the whole episode is coming up here in just a minute. When you see that ship come out of hyperspace, the starry background, and it's just floating through there, you know,
burning, falling apart,
It's smoke behind it. You see that big moon in front of it. That is just really cool looking. I mean, it is cool.
So they finally make it to the hangar controls there to try to figure out what their escape is, because they know says the shuttles have been destroyed, or the escape pods have been destroyed, so they're trying to find the shuttle. And that's
how come that ship only has one shuttle?
Well, I thought that too, but then later when they drop floors,
they said the destroyer.
Rex is running by all the shuttles, and he's like, nope, and he says every shuttle down here is under maintenance. So.
Okay.
So that's what I took out of it. They have one fixed, and the rest of them was still being worked on.
Yeah,
maybe?
They only brought one. I don't know if these are Star Destroyer class or what class of ship these are. They only brought one, and most of their shuttles and their drop ships were probably left on Mandalore.
Well, the one that
because
Maul
they didn't take all the
in,
troops back with them.
No, and the one that Maul escapes in is the one that they brought him in on, right?
Yeah, I think that's the one they brought him in on.
Yeah.
So basically, I think all they really had left under there was those drop ships that they use. I don't think those are capable of doing deep space travel.
Right.
So then they basically had like one-person fighters left on the ship. Most of those look like they were under repair, except for the Y-wing bomber that they escaped in. So, I mean, I think that's the reason why they didn't have one in there. There's a scene right here I'm watching right now, and it's the ship falling towards the moon, where she asked him to open up that hangar bay.
Yeah.
And you see that. That reminded me of a movie, Mark. I can't remember what it was. That it was the same feeling of a spaceship getting ready to crash into a planet or something. I don't even remember what movie that was. If it maybe was one of the Alien movies or something, the music kind of felt that same way the whole time. Again, the musical score in this is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Before they leave with their plan there to try, Jesse brings all the clone troopers out, lines them up in formation. Did you notice Jesse has the full-on commander gear? So did he find that after Rex didn't kill Ahsoka?
I don't know.
Because
I thought
he
it was
had on
kind of neat.
he had on the full gear though. Like the commanders, they have the
blue thing on their shoulder.
Yeah, well they have the padding around their waist too, like the kilt type looking thing that hangs off the sides, and then he had the jetpack and everything on the back too. So I was curious where he had.
I wonder if that's I don't know if that's a commander thing or if that's an ARC trooper.
Maybe, like I don't. You watched them all?
Because he's an ARC trooper.
Yeah, did he have that on when Maul was interrogating him?
No, see, they'd stripped it off of him except for his his base layer basically is all it showed on there.
Mm-hmm.
What about them? You get back to that. What about Jesse? What about it being the same character that Maul captured?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we knew
two episodes ago.
We just knew they had to be more to him than that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the grand plan is basically what Luke and Han does with Chewie in A New Hope when they go to rescue Leia.
Yeah.
Got the prisoner walking her up, just to stall so that the droids
can do something.
Can drop the floor on them, which I thought was pretty good. That eliminates half of them. Shame they all wasn't standing on that.
Well, they drop different sections.
They drop 2 sections.
Yeah.
They left like every other section stayed.
Yeah.
So the 2 big sections fail. They basically cut their adversaries in half when they done that, I think.
Yeah, and then you get I love the comedic part right there when the one trooper's like, raise them back up, and he's like, I can't, we're locked out, and then R7's like, hee.
Yeah. Droids are synonymous for comedy in Star Wars. You get a lot of comedy from the droids in Star Wars. And
as much as I like the battle, versus it felt like she was just deflecting bolts left and right for what felt like forever, which there was many of them on there.
And you could tell that how she visibly got tired and stuff. You could see it.
Yeah.
Well, even when when Ahsoka and Rex drops, and they stand up, and then they see that all the ones that had dropped, the half that had dropped below are in formation, ready to shoot. That's almost like Cap in Endgame when he gives it his all and he fights his way back up. And he's like, come on, bring it again. He's just like, here comes another wave of them,
Yeah, you can see the dread in the face.
Yeah, it's like, all right, here we go. Bring it,
Is that all you got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before they drop down there, so you get Maul coming in, going after the shuttle. So you got the race for the shuttle. 2 things on that. When he force pushes her and she uses the lightsabers to dig in, she still falls off, but it slowed her down enough that the droid was able to throw the line and catch her. Visually, that was awesome. I love that. And then I know Mark was talking on the text line about her being able to hold the shuttle. About
hold the shuttle.
Being able to hold the shuttle.
Yes, how it was pulling her.
Yeah, and how it was actually done right. It wasn't her just standing there. She was actually fighting against it. Rex was actually helping her, was holding on to her.
Yeah.
And then they started blasting, so he had to give way to her, just shoot back at them. But then it got to the point, she was holding, and she was going to hold him there until Rex said that there's too many of them, I can't do it. And that was when
he actually got hit too,
Yeah, she pretty much let Maul go to go
She
back
let
and save
Maul go
Rex.
to save Rex.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let Maul go to save him. Yeah.
Yeah. And she immediately turns and jumps back in front of him again
Mm-hmm.
and starts deflecting bolts
And
immediately.
I'll tell you another cool part too is when they're standing there and she throws the lightsabers down and then twists them and it makes the circle and they fall down.
Oh,
That
that
part
was a sweet,
That part
wicked
was
scene.
awesome
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah.
They could
Once
do
again, a 30-minute cartoon better than 6 hours worth of movies
Lord, yeah.
we've gotten since 2015,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
with the exception of Rogue One and Solo.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. So yeah, Sean, I had the circle cut with the lightsabers to the floor marked down here.
And
They need to. They should have done that more. Like, I mean, like, so they can control those things. Like, honestly, they could do like Thor. Why not just heave them at them and bring it back? I guess they didn't want to kill them.
I mean,
I don't know. It's
video
kind
games,
of
like some video games.
Oh, when they let go of one, it went off. It turned off.
Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, though, too, is it's kind of a little bit of a contradiction right there in that
See,
scene
she
because
lets go of them.
yeah,
in that scene.
because there's Qui-Gon Jinn tried to burn through that blast door in Phantom Menace.
That's a blast door. This is like a floor panel. I mean,
Yeah, but if you
that
look
blast
at
door
it,
was
it's a
like super
big,
thick.
thick floor panel too. It's huge.
it might not be as thick as that blast door.
Yeah, but look how much trouble the clone troopers had getting through that blast door,
Qui-Gon
even
was
in this
weak anyway.
episode. Like they was,
Yeah.
welding around it there to cut it.
Yeah.
So
And I had a thought, and it just left me. Daggone it.
What, Qui-Gon was weak, so he couldn't really do no much? I mean-
No, not that. No.
They talk about Qui-Gon actually being probably the most in-tuned Force user in the whole Star Wars
Well, I like his
galaxy
character. I was just
because he tapped into the living Force. Was able to
Oh,
come
yeah,
back.
You were
Yeah.
saying about throwing the lightsaber.
Lightsabers.
You do that in that Fallen Jedi video game.
It seemed like you did it in the Jedi Academy.
Rise
game.
of the Empire too, didn't you?
I don't know what that.
Not
is.
Rise of the Empire. What was the one old PlayStation game where you played the Sith Lord, the Sith Apprentice?
Star Wars Unleashed.
Yeah, Star Wars Unleashed. Yeah, you could throw your lightsaber in it too.
That's a PS3 game.
It was a
I think.
PS3, PS2,
Xbox
PS3
One,
game.
PS3, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So when she cuts
Or
the floor,
360.
they fall down and make they to save Rex, blah blah blah. But she sacrificed her droids in that process.
That made me mad.
They got straight up abused.
Yes, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean that
Just slaughtered.
was point blank. Just
Mhm.
Did they shoot them? Because I might
they
have
went-
missed that scene.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
it
no,
was.
I just watched it.
Like-
They did. They
Okay.
shot them.
point blank.
Mhm.
5 of them got them. Yeah, which
Yeah.
R7 gets shot right beside Ahsoka when she's holding the ship.
Yeah.
Like going back to what Mark said earlier, it's so dark for a cartoon. Like you just see the droid's head just bloop,
Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff fly
just
out of it.
blows it open.
and then
Yeah.
you see them just point blank range and just
Mhm.
boom, 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 boom on them. I'm like,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So
Well, they are tools and machines. They're
Well,
not.
yeah.
Mhm.
If it's R2, I'd be pissed.
Yeah. This was a neat scene here too, where Rex is running towards the Y-wing bomber, and she
Throws
force
him.
pushes him over to it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a really
because he
neat scene.
couldn't make that. If you even notice when they drop down, not when they drop down, when they are running toward the ship, when Maul's running toward the ship,
Mm-hmm.
Ahsoka jumps over those big hole panels that dropped.
Mhm. Yeah.
Watching the background, Rex runs around the edge
Mhm.
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, because he can't do it.
You know, so he couldn't have got to that Y-wing. She had, her throwing him there.
Yeah.
So everything on that.
Did she even say that I'll get you there?
Yeah.
No, he told her. He asked
told her,
her. He
"Get
said,
me
"You're gonna have
there."
to get me there."
Yeah.
Oh, I thought one of them said, "Get me, I'll
Yeah.
get you there." Or I
No,
thought one of them
he
said
said,
that.
"You're gonna have to get me there." Yeah.
So I was wondering what made the ship just drop on them right there. Well, then
Well, it was-
watching it a while ago though, that happened as soon as they come out of the space gravity when they get into the planet gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
and they even made mention of it. I noticed it when I was watching it a while ago. They said the moon is pulling us toward that planet.
Yeah.
So when they enter the Earth's atmosphere or whatever planet's atmosphere, that's when those thrusters quit and they start free
Mhm.
fall dropping, right?
Yeah, and then there's another really very well done scene here again with this big giant, battle cruiser falling to its death when it goes into the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
You see the back end of it, and the clouds are surrounding it.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, I am blown away with the art of
Yep.
this series.
Yeah.
I mean, it just visually,
Visually, it's incredible.
it is. I mean, it's as good as it's as good as a live action
Mm-hmm.
visuals. I
Yeah.
mean, think of there's very few live action visuals that I would put up with this. That's happened in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
The scene where in Last Jedi, the cool scene in Last Jedi is whenever she rams that big super destroyer thing and cuts it in half.
That's not cool. That's stupid.
That's a cool scene. I thought it was cool. And I thought it was cool. But visually it looked really good. But there's two scenes in this right here, man, where it's just like, wow, that is cool looking. Yeah.
So, and on this, Rex gets on the Y-wing, and then here we go, race to the surface part 2 with her, instead of fighting Mandalorians this time, she's dodging debris.
Yeah.
The whole,
that stuff was cool.
Yeah, you get is the running on the debris sequence probably almost identical to the from the Mandalorian episode earlier.
Well, she didn't run on as much.
But it seemed like to me, like just in my mind, like the camera cuts and everything seemed to be
about the same.
About the same. Yeah.
Well, I seemed like when I was watching, I was like, did she just do that like 15 minutes ago?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so he catches her, which I thought was great or cool in that. And if you notice when she finally gets in and pulls the hatch close, her demeanor completely changes. That's when you're talking about when the rear of the destroyer goes through the cloud, and then Rex's facial expressions change too, because that's when they realize that that's it. All my brothers, all these, but everybody she said she didn't want to kill just died, and that's when the music changes. That's when the music takes it to the just epic level, that somber music that starts right there, and then from that flyover of the destroyer crashed, and you see her in the distance standing there with all the stormtrooper helmets.
That scene right there is awesome. It kind of reminded me of the Walking Dead steak scene with Alpha and all of them. That's what it kind of reminded me of, was something like that. But
powerful, but but she, and I'm sure like we didn't see it, but like I guarantee you, she was not leaving there until she found every one of them and buried them.
Yeah.
And she's got them like diagonal too, like that way each space you can see each person's helmet.
Yeah. And even has Jesse's helmet in front. Like they might have even been positioned in the order they were standing in the bay there when they was lined up against them or something. But
I was sitting here watching this, and I think I'm right here at the 15-minute, 16-second is the very last piece of dialogue in the episode.
Yeah.
I don't think there's another word said between anybody in the rest of the episode.
No, I don't think so.
No,
it just being less one of the troopers.
Oh, that's right. Still that's right. The stormtroopers talk at the very end of it. Yep.
So she, after standing there with after the burial, she lets the one saber go and drops it away. So that's her. I'm guessing that's her saying, "I'm done." Right. Everything.
I think that is a message to Anakin, that at some point she thinks that he might find that spot, and that he might find her saber and realize that she's alive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was that at all.
Or she dropped it there hoping that they would find it and be like, well, she died in the crash.
Right.
To me, I honestly think, just knowing what she has been through, her character arc has been through, the betrayal that she knows that Anakin done, because she sensed it in the Force.
She felt it.
She felt it. I think this was her saying that she, understood what Anakin had done, and that she couldn't have that as, something that he had given her. She wouldn't want to keep that.
You think that's the reason why she let Maul out too? Is because that she knew that he was right.
She let Maul out for the reason that.
Well, I mean that distraction too, but
and
if you notice, they felt it at the exact same time.
Clones might kill him.
Yeah.
That was
she did. She just used Maul.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those instances where the hero uses the villain like the villain had always used the heroes up to a certain point.
He would die on the ship as it crashed too.
Yeah.
But that didn't play out.
I'm just going with like another perspective of that's I knew she done it to get away, but if you notice too, like he felt the same situation as she, and I think she knew that Maul was right then.
Yeah.
How about she's got her Jedi cloaks on? Reminiscent of the very last episode of Rebels, when it shows her going off to look for Ezra, and I don't know if it had her with that on there or not any time before. Again, I really think that she just wanted rid of that lightsaber. We talked about did she keep one of them? And again, I don't know. You said you seen where she did. It looked like she had them both.
She had them both when Rex caught her.
She did?
Yeah. See,
because it looked like to me that she lost one at some time or another.
I thought she lost one too.
Now, see, so when the ship falls out of orbit there and starts free falling, she uses both of them to catch herself as she's sliding down, and then she runs up and then jumps toward Rex.
I thought that's when she lost one.
Yeah, I thought she lost one there too, but
no, right when she grabs it, when she grabs a hold of the thing and pulls herself in, you can see both of them flared out on both sides.
Yeah. So,
see, I think
maybe she must have kept one of them then.
I think she kept one, and then her white sabers in Rebels is probably
just new
when she kept split. Yeah.
Those are slick looking. The hilts on those in the Rebels. I seen a scene of that today, a cut scene that showed them, and they are sharp looking. They've got this arc off the back of them that's really neat looking.
Yeah. And then too, the one thing I noticed too. Did you notice they had found R7?
Yes, they was parts of him sitting there.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
It's underneath the bomber whenever he's carrying the shovel back and sticking it up on there.
Yep.
Yes, I did notice that there was a droid sitting there. I guess it was R7.
Yeah, well, you can see the pink and the green.
Oh, you can? Yeah.
Maybe she rebuilds him into Chopper.
Yeah.
She may. Who knows? Yeah.
So that ends.
What'd you think about the burial ground there? Of all the, I know you said that she was going to make sure she buried all of them, found them all. Showed Jesse's helmet was prominent up front there, and all the helmets of the Ahsoka troopers, you might want to call them.
Well, you had the Ahsoka trooper ones, you had the 501 ones, the one that has the blue, the little racing stripe thing on it. You had just solid white ones.
Yeah.
So I think you had parts of every type of clone trooper on there. I noticed wasn't there the ones that had Maul, those troopers had the red shock trooper designs on them. I don't remember seeing any of them on the spikes though.
No, I didn't see any.
But they would have been some of those
just
on board.
Ahsoka's and the blue ones, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was just Rex's group that painted their helmets like Ahsoka, didn't they?
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't every clone trooper on the ship.
No, it wasn't.
Rex's, just Rex's
squadron.
Yep. Half of the 501. Remember, Anakin split the 501 in half.
Yeah.
So that ends her arc, and then you get the fast forward trying to figure out the time on that. So a couple things on that. So obviously it's snowed over. The destroyer, they go back and kind of show the same angle. So when when it goes to Ahsoka standing there at the pikes, you see the destroyer kind of pan over. You see the 2 red lines on the top where the hangar bay opens up. You see that in the snow. The snow's up over that, which now when it crashed, it buried in the ground some. But to me, that looks like a lot of snow.
Yeah, because the only thing you see,
it's just the top of it.
You see the top of one,
right?
Also like the helmets.
Well, on the helmets, I seen 3. I paused it.
Yeah, you can only see.
Vader walks up, you can only see the top of 3 helmets still on the spikes. All the other helmets look like they're in the ground. Like you can see little orange bleeding through, like where just the top dome of them is.
It kind of looked like me to where all of the sticks that was holding them had rotted.
Right, and maybe they just broke. You know.
I think this is.
I think this is several years later.
Well, because if you look at the lightsaber, it's rusted.
Yeah, but how's the lightsaber on top?
That's
like it's laying on top of the ground.
Well, I mean,
I don't think the snow is as deep.
I don't think the snow is that deep. You're saying that you see the helmet's still on the sticks, but covered in snow. The sticks are rusted, and the helmets are laying on the ground now.
Yeah,
I
think that's what it is. I don't think the snow was. I think those sticks was all rusted,
rotted.
Yeah. Hey, listen. As soon as it showed a snow trooper, well, first of all, you've got the Darth Vader shuttle, which is really slick.
And it was white, or was that just the snow reflection?
No,
Darth
those
Vader
shuttles are white. Yeah,
it is white. Okay,
yeah, the Imperial
white.
shuttles went to they turned white. All of the Imperial shuttles were white.
And then Kylo Ren's shuttle is inspired by Vader's, right? It looks just like it, it's black.
Kylo Ren's not in the Empire. He's in the First Order, so it's a completely different thing.
Yeah. But you see the snow troopers, which I've always thought was one of the coolest.
I love the way the mask
armors, it ever was, and the Imperial probe droids.
Yeah,
those probe droids are slick,
and those probe droids are in, not just in Episode 5. Those probe droids are a big part of Rebels too. There's several episodes with those probe droids.
Oh, probe droids are a big part of Star Wars when it comes to the villains of the Empire. Like they're in lots and lots of video games, and they're always formidable opponents. They're pretty strong.
So trying to figure out the timeline. So to me, this Vader looks.
He's got some time on him.
I don't think he does. Like, to me, he looks slim. He looks young to me.
He looks like I think I put that in the text line. He looks like the comic book Vader. These new comic book series they've got of Vader.
Right.
That's what he looks like in them.
But
he
the troopers look like Rogue One. The troopers look like Rogue One.
He doesn't look at all like the one in Rebels. The one in Rebels looks different.
He's the one in Rebel. That's because of the animation style.
Right. Right.
And he looks, he's got a skinny face. This looks like Vader.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I'm not complaining about the one in Rebels. That's just the way.
That's the way that style is.
Yeah. But no,
I mean, like where you can see his eyes in there, like through the red tint and stuff. Like, I don't know. He looks like a young version to me. Like, he don't look like. To me, I think we're closer to Clone Wars than we are to Rogue One and Rebels.
I think we're about halfway.
Exactly, halfway.
Maybe more.
And it's supposed to be
because you got to think too. You've got time for them.
There's 15 years between Clone Wars.
It's supposed to be 16 or 15. Yeah, so 7 years.
Yeah, I think he's like 7 or 8 years out.
Yeah,
because you got all the clone troopers have been turned into actual stormtroopers, and he didn't show a ship, but I'm assuming that they was in Star Destroyers.
Right.
The only ship it really showed was his.
Right.
Yeah,
the shuttle off of it.
Yeah.
So what is the bird flying around?
It's just a bird.
I've seen something. It could be the bird when Anakin and her is at where she's fighting the daughter, or they're fighting the daughter and the son.
Yeah.
That's the bird that the daughter has.
Yes. Yeah. That same bird is supposedly in Rebels after Ahsoka and Vader's fight.
If you think the daughter saved Ahsoka, so the bird is now a part of Ahsoka. So and that's the bird. That's what I read. That was because I looked it up, and that bird was the same kind of bird that the daughter had in the previous when Anakin and them was fighting, doing his thing with them.
So Vader's seeing
it's
Vader.
basically her spirit animal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
spirit animal. Yeah.
I think it's just a bird.
Come on, man. Come on.
No, Mark,
No,
he's got some
the-
significance.
Because
Everything has to have significance.
Because if you look, he looked at it.
Yeah.
And he knew what that. I think Vader knew what that bird was.
Yeah.
He looked at it, turned
he
to
doesn't
say,
know until Rebels that she's alive.
No, that's why
"No,
I
it's
said
the other way around. Ahsoka don't know he's alive until Rebels."
No, I watched that the other day when he's in his TIE fighter attacking him.
Oh, he
And
does.
he's
He
like-
says the apprentice lives.
He goes, the apprentice lives. Yeah.
See, to me, it almost looks like he sees that bird. He's holding the lightsaber. He puts two and two together, and then he turns and walks off forcefully, like I'm going to find her.
And he may have done that. I think he may have sensed that part of it. So, this could be.
You think she was still there on that planet?
No,
No.
They said in the Ahsoka novel, which it's kind of got me wanting to read those. Did you ever read them, Mark? The
No.
Ahsoka novel?
No.
That her and Rex go together into hiding, and then they eventually split up.
Well, she says in Rebels that they lost contact with each other.
Yeah.
Yes. She
So
lost track
she's
of
in hiding at this point, and there's really nothing that says when she got back into the rebellion.
Yeah.
She had already been in the rebellion at some point whenever she made her appearance in Rebels.
Yeah.
Under that fulcrum monk here, but so it doesn't really say when she done that. Yeah.
Is there a greater visual than Vader wielding a blue saber?
That probably is the MVP of the whole thing. Is him holding that blue saber, and it's just got his back turned. And you see part of the blue saber out like that's the freeze frame of the episode right there.
It's like Vader has finally left Louisville and is now a Kentucky fan.
I wouldn't say that.
That whole little cut scene there at the end was a whole story into itself. You can read so much into it. What was the timeline? When did it happen? It's a lot later because you got, like Mark said, you got regular stormtroopers, you got snow troopers, you got the Imperial Pro droids, you got Vader's shuttle, you got Vader looking, very black against this white gray background, walking up to it, kind of just surveying everything, and he goes immediately towards that lightsaber. They talked about this in The Force Awakens, how lightsabers hold a residual memory of their owners.
Mhm.
So when he picks that lightsaber up, well, number one, when he sees it, he immediately knows what it is. He knows whose it belongs to, and then he ignites it, looks up at that bird, and you got to know that you kind of wonder what he's thinking right here.
Mhm.
What's he thinking about at this part? What's going on in his mind? Turns around, walks off with it. To me, I'd say he just took that crystal out of it and turned it into a Sith lightsaber.
Right.
He didn't care anything else about it after that. Him walking away, and you see his visual walking away in the helmet visor.
Yeah.
And then it just goes to black.
That's a wallpaper.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's an awesome cut.
Yeah, that'd be a slick little poster to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole Clone Wars show, it ends with Vader like that, but this was really Ahsoka's show from the get-go, wasn't it? Like it filled in.
It turned into Ahsoka's show.
Yeah. You think that was originally the plan?
No.
No,
I don't think it was. I think it just organically happened.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What happens to Anakin? Through episode 6. Through episode 3. So what happens to Anakin. What happens to Obi-Wan.
Mhm.
You just never really knew what happened to Ahsoka.
Hey, what? And as far as that goes,
she becomes such a big part of the show that they had to give her some closure on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they had to have some way to end it.
Yeah,
they couldn't have ended it by redoing what they did in episode 3.
Yeah, you're not going to do that. just rehash something old like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought it ended. I mean, I don't know what I expected this season to be. It was way better than I feel like I expected it to be. I thought it ended great. He's talking about this being better than anything than the movies or whatever. I do think this show has made episode 3 much better than it was, and will probably be thought upon now much more highly than before this.
I think
Episode 3 was good to begin with.
Yeah, but I think that the Clone Wars series made the prequels
as a whole
much better.
Much better.
Yeah, because you got characters like you got to see Maul again.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody's like, well, crap. There's somebody that and then you got an Ahsoka, which this ended up being her season.
Well, it lets you also. I mean, you got to deal with bounty hunters.
Yep.
You got to deal with.
I thought it made Dooku way better.
Yeah, you got
Just
to deal with the
expanded on him.
underworld, the syndicates, the criminal organizations. Everybody's always like, "Oh, I wish they'd do a series about the underworld and about the criminal organizations." Well, there's a ton of that in Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
They
did a video game, but it got canceled when Disney bought Lucasfilm.
Yeah, there's a ton of bounty hunter stuff in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Different bounty hunters and things like that, because everybody's like.
And bounty hunters not just Boba Fett, like you see.
Not just Boba Fett. Yeah,
you seen young Boba Fett and all that, but they expanded on that whole bounty hunter thing.
Mm-hmm.
Young Boba Fett was in Clone Wars. That's right, he was. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see teenage Boba Fett in it too.
Yeah. So I mean, they were able to expand this universe so much by doing the Clone Wars. Again, I've kind of we've said it here before. The prequels have aged a lot better the more that you kind of sit back and watch them, and the reason that they have aged better is because
the
you've got the
sequels
Clone
are so bad.
Wars. Well, you got the Clone Wars that let them flesh out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Whereas before you didn't, and people. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Whenever we first watched the prequels, we weren't very happy with them. I don't think. I mean, we enjoyed them. I mean, they were Star Wars movies, and they rushed through it. You didn't really like the Anakin character in those 3 movies that much, especially the first one. Oh my goodness. I don't know why these movies always feel like they have to bring little kids into the whole storyline, but I guess they do. But
I would have been happy if it was started with Anakin already as a Padawan and a teenager.
Yeah. But it's allowed them to be fleshed out a little bit more. Again, they have been so much better than the last 3 movies were.
Well, okay, so on that point, like you probably feel more for Rex than any character in the entire sequel trilogy.
Oh, the last 3?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You have more you have more emotional attachment to a lot of the characters in the Clone Wars than you do any of these characters in the last 3 movies.
Oh yeah. So where's it go from here?
Man, I don't really know. I've listened to a lot of things online about people. Where's it go from here? Where's it go from here? I still kind of want to see something from Return of the Jedi till The Force Awakens or to The Mandalorian.
I want to see that though.
We're going to get some of that though with
Mandalorian.
With the Mandalorian season 2.
But I want to see it.
But it's not going to be the main characters.
No, but I want to see it immediately. I want to see that immediately after Return of the Jedi, not toward The Force Awakens ends. I want to see it within 10 years of Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mandalorian is within 10 years of Return. It's 5 years after Jedi. But here's my question. Since it's Clone Wars, we're talking about Ahsoka. She's supposed to be in Singleton 2, right?
Right.
The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
She goes off with Sabine at the end of Rebels, which happens after Return of the Jedi. That final scene is after the Empire falls.
Right.
So Mandalorian is 5 years after that. Then you have season 2, which I assume is going to be, just a few days after season 1 of Mandalorian. Then Ahsoka's going to be in it. So what happens
In
with
that
her little
5-year period.
search for? Yeah, are we going to see Sabine in Mandalorian? Maybe we're wrong, and they didn't cast Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. Maybe they cast her as Sabine.
Good
Hey,
have.
we're not really because everybody. But haven't they said it's Ahsoka?
I seen the thing
I don't think
today.
Lucasfilm has said it's Ahsoka.
No, they haven't confirmed it yet. But
Yeah,
Well,
that's
if you think about it,
speculation.
yeah,
if you
she
think about
did,
it
though.
too, ain't Sabine like a darker skin?
The other way the character looks, you could play her out as that.
I mean,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
it could. Mark could be right. She could be Sabine.
But now I
Yeah.
seen the thing today that said that they had said, or it said that Ahsoka in Mando season 2 is a cameo. Said it's not a recurring character.
So it would be a one-off episode.
It could be a one-off deal. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So
But
I don't think you're going to get as much of Ahsoka in The Mandalorian as you
You
want
won't.
because
No.
she's too popular.
No, but
and she's going to overshadow the Mandalorian character.
Right. Yeah, like she's going to get her own show if they're going to do that. And
Yeah.
if they're going to do her own show, you've got her and Sabine going after Ezra. Well, if you're going after Ezra, Thrawn's with Ezra, so you can have him in it too.
But you think they'll do a?
You have a live action of all four of those characters.
I was gonna say, you think you're gonna have a live action Ahsoka TV show? Them going find Ezra? I mean, that would be pretty cool. But
To me, I think
hers
Ahsoka
will be
Tano
live
will
action.
be in this episode, the episode that she's in, as a way of them moving away from Baby Yoda. I don't think they're going to keep Baby Yoda in that series going forward. I just don't.
I think
I don't
they
see
are.
them doing it.
I think
they have to now.
It's going to be like Lone Wolf and Cub.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh. I never really thought about it that way, but you're right. Yeah.
You got to think too is like she's technically a Jedi, and the child uses the Force.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably finds her to
Train the child.
To train the child or something.
Or
like
she
that.
comes after him to try to get the child.
Yeah.
True.
That could
And
be
he
that too.
stops it. They fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That'd be
Did you
kinda
guys
cool.
watch the Roundtable from The Mandalorian that they debuted last night?
I
I've
did.
not watched it yet.
It's pretty slick.
Pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
And when you
Talks to
watch it,
all the directors.
when
Yeah.
you watch that, you will understand why The Mandalorian is so good and why it has that Star Wars feel. Because everybody at that table are fans.
Yes. And Dave Filoni is like the super fan.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude lives, eats, breathes Star Wars.
The story of how him and Lucas, how he got hired by Lucas is awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad Lucas didn't give Lucasfilm to him then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like the Clone Wars stuff is him, right? Like just
Yeah, that is him, but still.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like from the start to the finish is all him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Clone Wars. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
and Rebels is his too. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, he's an animated guy. He's an animator.
He does.
He's an artist. He's a drawer. I don't know if he done Resistance or not. They were talking on one podcast I listened to, was talking about Resistance and how it was so different than the rest of them. The look of it, they called it
cell shaded animation.
Yeah, and it's very kiddie orientated. You know,
that was a Disney mandate there, though.
Yeah, that they had to bring that. And, yeah.
Well, he's listed as one of the creators with Carrie Beck, Dave Filoni, and Kiri Hart for Resistance.
I'd say he had some input in on it.
Yeah, I say he's probably like a producer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only other thing I got in my notes that I was going to mention was the on the lightsaber. Just to throw it at Last Jedi, had Ryan Johnson directed this episode, instead of her laying it on the ground, she would have just tossed it.
Tossed it over her shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did show it a little bit more respect than they did in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was on the other day, and I almost stopped on it to watch it. And then I just kept on going.
I just about watched it yesterday too.
Did you?
I mean, no, Rise of Skywalker. I just about watched yesterday, not
Yeah.
Last Jedi.
We watched Rise of Skywalker again the other night.
I watched it the other night, and
Watch it again.
it's not horrible.
The best part of The Last
It's
Jedi
not.
is the visual when they're flying on Crate and it's digging up the red. Not the battle, just the visual, that overhead with all the
Mhm.
red dirt flying up's the best part of that whole movie.
I hated that part.
I thought the best part of the whole
Movie
Last
was
Jedi
Luke
is when it ended.
Skywalker standing in front of those gorilla walkers.
Well, that was pretty cool, but the best
Yeah.
part is when it ended. So,
The best part was the credits. I agree with you, Sean.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't hate it, but
Have you guys
I
ever
just
seen?
wanted it to end.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen the YouTube video where this guy? I mean, it's a really long video, and this guy goes over the big throne room sword fight stuff between the Red Guard, and you watch that. When that first come out, you're like, "Oh, that was an awesome scene." That was an awesome fight and battle and stuff. Watch that YouTube video, and you realize that it's the stupidest thing ever filmed.
Oh, really?
In Snoke's throne room?
Yes, in Snoke's throne room.
Like, I never understood the walls burning, but I thought it looked cool. I'm all
But
about
you
the
need
visuals,
to
though.
watch that video.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find it, and I'll send a link.
Yeah, send us a link on it. We'll set it up and watch it. Yeah.
Anybody got
So
anything else on Clone Wars before we end it?
No, I think that's what I've got. I mean, I really enjoyed the four. I enjoyed all 12 episodes to a certain level, but the last four really just topped it off, and they done a great job ending the storyline.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go back and watch every
Yeah.
episode.
I wish I wouldn't have quit watching Clone Wars like season 2.
Well, the Rebel Force guys was talking about this today, how it probably was a good thing that there was such a break. What was it? Was it 2008 or 2012 whenever
12.
it stopped?
Started in 8, it ended in 12.
But because they were talking about how people were almost on a Star Wars burnout
Right.
at that time.
At that
and
time,
that
they
it probably was a lot better for it to end the way that, for them to cancel it and then bring it back.
Well,
the
it
way
worked
that
out.
They did.
It worked out. It worked out perfect just because people soured on the sequels, and then Mandalorian being such a big hit, there was actual excitement for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think Mandalorian brought your. I'm not gonna say. Oh well, yeah, probably brought your diehard Star Wars fans back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just because it had more of a Star Wars feel than the the last trilogy.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's all I've got.
All right then.
All I've got.
We will end episode 2 here with our recap of the Clone Wars. So,
Whoop, whoop.
thank you all. I'll be thinking of some ideas for some future podcasts.
Yeah.
We'll figure out something.
Get back on soon.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the Frozen series.
Yeah. I could quote them word for word.
Yeah.
I've watched them 1,000 times each.
Oh yeah.
That's one thing about my youngin'. He don't really get into that stuff.
Yeah, that's all Mom watch. Good Lord. Yeah. So
all right, then.
on May the 5th, guys, it is not May the 5th. It is Revenge of the 5th. See you.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.